YouTube cover time for Civet. The heat is on the street, inside your head, on every beat. The air's so cold, but deep inside, the pressure's high, just to stay alive. The heat is caught up in the act and I'll be looking out for you. Tell me can you feel it? Tell me can you feel it? Tell me can you feel it? The heat is on. The heat is on. The heat is on. Oh, it's on the street. The heat is on. Caught up in the action, I'll be looking out for you. Tell me can you feel it? Tell me can you feel it? The heat is on. The heat is on. The heat is on. Out on the street. The heat is the shadows hide, the darker side, behind the doors, it's a wicked ride. The break they break, you can win or lose, that's a choice you take, when the heat is on you, when the heat is on. Come up in the action, I'll be looking out for you. Tell me can you feel it? Tell me can you feel it? Tell me can you feel it? The heat is on. 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 When you walk in, I'll be looking out for you. But can you feel? Tell me, can you feel it? Tell me, can you feel it? The heat is on. The heat is on. The heat is on. We're down the street. The heat is on. Yeah, so if you managed this long, 5-minute version. I think the song's only 3 minutes long. I must have extended it somewhat. Yeah, so this is my Shockingbird, which I've just put decent strings on for the first time since I built it. This is an old fresher Japanese neck, which was my pal had sanded it down, and in order to fix a broken headstock, he'd put hacksaw blades in vertically in the joint, thinking that was, so basically I just put it on this and painted it gloss red, which was nice. Put cheesy skull tuners on it, and I'm quite proud of my, you always have a problem putting strings going over the D and G strings going out of tune because of the break angle from on the nut. Well, I've got wee rollers put in, see them here and here, which means that the strings, instead of going at a funny angle, they kind of go almost straight onto the nut, which completely solved the problem of the two strings going out of tune in the middle. I made these rollers by cutting the ball end off a bass string, sticking a screw through it. I was quite pleased with that. Yeah, so the body in this is made from 2 bits of a joist stuck together. See, I made it so I intentionally chose a bit that's got a face in it. Kind of looks like the wee guy from, is it Ice Age? The wee sort of alien, I have no idea what animal he is. He's not a lemur, I don't know what it is. You know, the main characters kind of get this face and his tongue out. Yeah, so I drew around a Telecaster and I drew around this horn on my Mockingbird, one of those shapes that I drew, and just thought I have to have that guitar. It's going to be amazing, and I think it does look fantastic. If it didn't have the face in it, I would possibly have painted it yellow, which might look quite cool. So it's through strung, like a Telecaster. The neck bolts I had weren't long enough, the ones I had, so I was just using old parts to make this. So I put this mad carve in, which I've seen on, I think Charville's have it. I've got a Yamaha SE that's got this on it, which gives you a better junction, but it's actually because the neck bolts weren't long enough. So it's just a little bit scooped in there. It's through strung. Bridge says Fender on it. I doubt very much it's Fender. It was just from a parts box. I've tried to use up gold parts because I had the gold bridge and a gold control plate. So as you can see, the volume output goes on the front of the plate. It's got one volume control. There's actually only one wire in this whole guitar. Well, the pickup has 2 wires coming off it. So there's 2 wires that go from the pickup that go onto the volume control, and then 1 wire goes from the volume control to the jack output, and the earth is taken from one of the wires that comes off the pickup, is just connected to this metal plate, so that earth the strings, and the volume control is connected to this metal plate, so that earths all that, so you don't need any more wires. So 1 wire I added to this guitar. That's just an air vent. I was going to put a switch in it, but I thought, why not? This pickup was I think I've talked about this guitar before. I'm doing it again anyway. Now that I'm enjoying it, I think I might take it to the studio, see what the band think of it. I'll see what it sounds like for a big amp. I've got 1 single coil pickup, so it's like an Esquire, but this pickup I got in my Washburn A10. That's an A5, so it's that shape, even though you can only see half of it. Someone had put in, there were sort of P90s in a humbucker casing, and they were gold, and so why did I take them to bits? I took them to bits because I was going to change over the sort of plastic cover on them, and to find inside it was just a normal size single pickup, you know, with the metal base plate with a full size cover on it. And I thought that was a bit cheaty. Although now that I think about it, I'm not sure that a lot of P90s in a humbucker casing aren't basically that. So this one, I angle ground off the metal plate to make it the same shape as a telly plate, and then screwed it hard onto, I said hard on, screwed it straight onto the base plate. So this is technically a P90, I think, but it's a rocking guitar. I'm using a wee Laney VC15, and I'm using that, if you look back a wee bit, a twin note fuzz pedal, which I got for, I think it was 15 quid, brand new off eBay. And the single coil and the fuzz pedal just loves it. Another thing I just got to mention, said about the tuners, I put the skull things, they're actually black tuners, but I put gold skulls on it and gold washers, so they're black tuners with gold bits on them, which I thought looked pretty good. You can see that's a little bit on I didn't actually sand it very much before I glossed it up, but it feels pretty good, and it matches this strap. And I figured sort of red and black and gold's very Flash Gordon. It's also a little bit Nazi, but I was thinking more Flash Gordon than the rest of us type thing. So I can't show you any other pickups. So that's me using the fuzz pedal. If I go into my usual rat, it's a little bit less fuzzy, obviously, but you might get a chance of cleaning it up a little bit to get some. This guitar always surprises me. It's one of my favourites, just because it's so odd. Obviously, no one's ever seen this before, so it's got like a Les Paul neck on it. So it's a shorter scale. It's a 24 3/4 inch scale, and one piece body with very minimal routing on it, and it's unfinished. Well, I think I treated it with something. I can't remember what it was, but it kind of left it matte. Some sort of is it garden furniture preserver or something like that. I remember it stinking for about a week. You can still sort of smell it. It smells like a garden centre. But I didn't bother, like that bit there, I didn't actually sand that. But my thinking there was, that means if you've got it sitting on your leg, it's got some grip. But I love this shape. It's definitely just, I don't know who it's for. I mean, if I was going to make guitars, you know, I would make these because that's the sort of thing I would want, but I don't think anyone else would, which is a shame. And people don't like the one pickup, but I mean, it's like, I would think nothing of having a Telecaster and only ever using the bridge pickup. Loads of people do that. Yeah, it's totally normal. It's just not having the safety net of having anything else. You've just got one pickup. So any other sounds you want, you have to do by playing it differently. make one of these yourself. Get yourself a couple of bits of wood from B&Q. All I did was, these are doweled and glued, but I was using clamps. There's one there but it's in below shit. So I basically just put dowels in, so that's one piece of wood, that's the other piece of wood. I stuck with two, I sawed the two edges of them so they were both square. I think I actually used a table saw for that. So I cut them into, there were two straight edges, stuck them together, lined up this bit, drawn out on top of it, around the Telecaster, and then drilled holes, doweled, clamped it, cut it out with a jigsaw, and then just hacked away at it with an angle grinder until it looked like this. And it's amazing what you can make. I've made Telecasters before using, but this is Naughty Pine. That's Knotty, not Naugty. I was quite naughty doing it anyway. Did I steal it? Maybe I stole it, but I sort of borrowed it off site. It was one of my sites, so so it's sort of naughty because I stole it. But amazing guitar. And no, I will not be selling this one ever. I think the Thresher neck is actually, Thresher are quite a well regarded Japanese, I think it's Japanese, I don't know, just one of your normal sort of Les Paul copies. It's got a black binding on it, and I had to do a fair bit of fretwork on it, but when you get like an old guitar from the 70s, the frets are always knackered anyway, so I had to connect it up, but and I could maybe put a better volume control on it. I've actually got one of my other guitars, is a Yngwie Malmsteen speed knob in it, and it's an Aria rock device that I put it in, and unfortunately that particular guitar has switches in it that are right at the bit to use the super fast volume control, so you have to sort of come in at it from the front and do that, as opposed to rolling your hand down the back. So I might swap it over and put it in this, just so that if we've only got one knob, might as well make it like a pure it's like the Yngwie Malmsteen one that's got like ball bearings in it or something, so it's pure and it's pure full volume, and when it's off it's really smooth. I think it was like 20 quid or something, I can't remember. I bought it just because I thought it was funny. 20 minutes rock and roll.